Hey guys, JT here with some final thoughts on the Traxxas Erevo 2.0. I want to kind of put this video together and kind of make it as short as possible if I can. I want to go over some of the pros and cons of this vehicle, and you guys notice that I have different tires and wheels on here. I'll explain that in just a minute. So first off, this is of course the 2018 version, or version 2.0, like I said, of the Traxxas Revo. I never had the original Revo, so I can't do comparisons between this Revo and the previous Revo. Now, I did have the 16 scale Revo, but that's no comparisons there. I had that for a short period of time and that kept flipping over. But all in all, with this particular vehicle, I love the paint scheme. I love the color orange. So I do like the way Traxxas did this orange, white, and blue, and then they also have a greenish one too as well. So I like that. And I like the actual structure of the body and stuff. And I like the way that looks. And I also like that they are putting this on some of their cars. This little guard that's on top of it, because it does help when you're driving the car and you flip it over. You guys see there's some scuff marks on top of that. It keeps you from actually tearing into your body. So I like this feature that they actually put on here. It actually blends in with it. I believe it may be T-Bone Racing or somebody makes one as well. For certain cars that actually fit over the whole thing, and I just think that looks kind of odd in my opinion. But the way this looks right here, I think this looks really good. And going on to the body as well, the quick release where you actually just flip this up and then take that out is a cool feature. They also have this on the X-Max as well. But sometimes it hasn't done it with this one. This can actually come loose if you're doing some hard bashing and you start flipping a lot. This can actually pop off. I haven't had it happen, but I have had some of the same things that could possibly happen with the X-Max, as far as the way Traxxas just has screws in here for this. Eventually, if you start flipping the car and it's flipping a whole lot, or you're running or taking it on an awful lot, eventually it's just plastic, part of the Lexan, that actually is screwed. The screw is actually screwed into here. Let me see if I can show this to you guys real quick. There's really nothing to hold that in. I mean, it's just basically the screw screwed into the body, and eventually that plastic around where those screws are wears out, and then these start having holes and stuff in there. There's tons of remedies to fix that. You see here, there's some minor modifications here for this to keep that from happening and tearing into the Lexan there. These are actually just caps from a Servo. I think it's a 24 tooth cap for a Servo that I put on there, and it actually is a direct fit to keep these screws and the body intact, so that the screws are not actually eating through the body. I probably should do a video on that, but that's just a JT quick fix remedy on that to keep that from happening. So I mean, with that, like I said, I like the paint scheme of the body, and the way this is constructed is good, and this right here is good as well. It's just that I think that when you get this, I would go ahead and put either some washers or something in here to keep these from eating through the body. Now, as far as tires go, I am not the only person to go through and tear tires up. You see it all the time on YouTube. You see it on the forums. The tires aren't strong enough to really run 6S LiPo on it. And it's not just tearing it in the street. You could also tear it in grass with all that power going to them and these tires ballooning up. And sometimes when they come loose, they just kind of rip. It's just weird. If you guys watch, I know Jane did a video a long time ago on Ultimate RC. I'd recommend, if you haven't checked him out, check some of his videos out. He doesn't do them anymore, but he did excellent reviews and stuff. He even had the version 1 of the Erevo, and he ran it the first time on 6S, and within a minute he ripped the tire. So same kind of problem with the stock tires that come on here. They will rip and tear at some point. I don't know if it'll be at the first part of your few runs or a little bit later on, but just be prepared for that. Don't be upset. I think you can contact Traxxas and they'll probably take care of you with that. I don't see them, if you're just getting the truck and running for the first time, they rip and they say no. So, but with that, I did put some different tires on here. These are the tires and wheels from the Arma Outcast. These are the backflip to boot tires. These actually performed really well on here. Haven't had these rip and tear. They didn't tear on my Outcast, didn't tear on my Creighton, and they sure won't tear on here because those have a lot more power and weigh a lot more than this truck right here. So anyway, getting to some of the internals of the bodies, they do have a couple of things that are different. Like I said, I never owned the version 1, so I can't really do comparisons except for specification wise. But just looking at this, the design layout is somewhat similar, but there are a couple of things that may be different with this. I do like the lay down shock design that they do of this. If you actually want to tighten those up, these are a threaded body in there, and these are aluminum body. These are aluminum shocks as well. So it's just a quick couple of twists here, and you can tighten it up or loosen that up. Now it is a little bit more work if you want to actually replace the shock oil in there. You'd have to do a little bit more work in there to do that. But the shocks have held up well. Like I said, they are aluminum. They have aluminum body and aluminum cap, so you have to worry about that popping off like you do some of their 10 scale models that have the plastic cap, and that wouldn't make sense to put that on there anyway. Stock out the box, you're going to get probably about 6S. You're probably going to get about 45 to probably 50 miles per hour or so with this on 6S. Depends on what kind of batteries you use, but you are limited to battery sizes. The biggest you can probably fit in here is going to be about a 5,000 milliamps. So they did kind of stick with that same design here with the batteries. And if the batteries start to puff, or they are puffing, this will actually mold this plastic up and kind of make this a little bit bigger. And I did see someone, I can't remember their names, someone was actually using puffy batteries in there and actually made a little hump in this right here. But if you have puffy lipos, you shouldn't be using them anyway. But Traxxas did design and put a little vent here so that some air can flow in through there and actually flow out the back. But like I said, that is limited on about 5,000. You may be able to get a 52 to 5,500 in there, but you sure couldn't use a 6,000 or 8,000 milliamp LiPo battery in there. So that's just something to consider as well. And people say over time, I haven't experienced it, that these actually don't clip up. I don't see that happening too much unless you're like taking a pin and pushing it down and forcing it down and forcing it back open. It will eventually wear that out. So that is something to consider about the battery tray. With the servos, you guys see that there's Servos servos in here. The stock servos were okay, but the truck does perform a lot better with the upgraded servos on it. So I say if you can, go ahead and put some upgraded servos on there if you want to put that in your budget for it. Broken parts, haven't broken anything, but I didn't bash it like doing triple backflips or anything like that. But I have heard of people tearing diffs and stuff up on it as well, which I thought was interesting. I think they were just doing backflip after backflip with that. But I haven't experienced any of that with mine. And I also know that periodically people are breaking these rods too. So they are really bashing, excuse me, they are really bashing this car hard, which is your car. You drive it how you want it. So I have read about people breaking these rods or these rods coming loose and them having to replace that. So other than that, guys, I mean, this has been a pretty fun truck. I don't have any complaints or gripes about it or anything like that. How does it compare to other cars? Well, I mean, the Armor cars are going to be a lot tougher. I know a lot of people are not going to like that. I want to hear that, but they are. They are a lot tougher than this car here. But I like the way this looks. I think the paint scheme really draws me in. So I kind of give this the one up on Armor for the looks because of the paint scheme, and I kind of like the kind of truggy-ish like look and stuff. So of it, speed wise, the Armor is going to be a little bit faster, and they do come with speed gears. For you to get this up to 70 miles per hour, you have to buy another spur gear and pinion gear. It's not like you can do it straight out the box. So that's something else to consider. But it's not a bad truck, guys. It really isn't. With the exception of the tires, I think if you change the tires out, you'll do real well. And if you want to change the servo out, you'll be performing even better. Because there was a huge difference when the servo was changed out. And of course, with the TSM and stuff that's included, that actually improves the performance of the truck as well. So, guys, that's going to be my final thoughts on this. Like I said, I don't have any problems or issues with it. Other than the tires, you replace those, you'll be good to go. Upgrade the servos, you'll be good to go. Part support is out there now. There are parts for this thing, as when they first released it, there weren't that many parts for it. So I'm going to be doing more videos on this, but I did want to kind of get this out so you guys can kind of know my thoughts and stuff on it. I don't think it's bad for what it is. I think it should be $4.99 just to keep in, I guess, in competition with the Armor cars, but that's just my opinion. I mean, that would give you a better choice because sometimes that $50 does make a difference. And then you think about the Traxxas connectors that are on there as well. It's kind of hard to find LiPo batteries that have those connectors. So anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.